This is a spot we call the Yukon plot. It's a small 1/10 acre of a plot, pretty much, maybe a little more than that, 0.2 acres. We've tried some annual food plot mixes in here. The deer just browse it down a little bit too much. So last couple of years we switched it into clover, and it's looking really good. Larry does a good job kind of upkeeping this one, spraying, liming, fertilizing it, doing all that. So we got a stand right here that's usually produces some pretty decent action. So I got to swap out some straps on it, and then it'll be ready to go for this hunting season. We leave a lot of our stands up year-round, so we try our best to get around to them every couple, 2-3 years and replace straps. So the ones I'm pulling off right now actually look decent, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. So we're putting all new straps on this one, and so that way we know it's good to go. With that new earn a second buck tag in New York State that they're going to implement this year, this is one of those spots with this food plot out here that I could see myself hunting early October and probably, hopefully, getting a crack at a nice doe. This new regulation really isn't going to impact how many does I shoot in a year. I usually get about 1 or 2. It's not necessarily going to change the amount, but it's probably going to change when I try to get out here and kill one. That's one more stand ready to go. On to the next one. Walking up on the second stand of the day here. This is one that Chase and I already swapped sticks for earlier in turkey season. And I actually raised the stand about 4 feet to make it set on the tree a little bit better. So it's just about ready to go. I just had to snip a few limbs to make sure my shooting lanes are all ready to go. This stand here always gets me pretty excited for the season because I've only hunted it a handful of times, but I've killed 3 bucks out of it, including the one I shot last year. I've killed 2 other 8-point. So one was about a 3.5-year-old, and the other one I think was 4.5, and they've all been just right out here in front of me. The one last year came out right through there, and then I shot him at this stump. The one previously shot at that stump too, and then the very first one I killed after I had a different buck running me around in circles in here chasing a doe, had another one follow a doe right over to my left, and was able to get a shot into him. So I wait for the conditions to be absolutely perfect before I come in here. Usually it's not until at least November 1st, and it's been good to me. Rolling into the third stand here. This is a rifle only stand usually, but we have had a lot of fun and a lot of luck in this stand, especially in recent years. It'll be opening day. Killed several nice bucks out of it, and unfortunately this last year was probably the slowest year we've had in a while. It's definitely grown up a lot in here over the last couple years, and we just need to make sure we have a couple of these shooting lanes trimmed out because some of the best ones have closed in a little bit. So we're going to hopefully get some limbs cut here and make sure it's ready to go for somebody to sit in on opening day. Larry's been hunting this thing for probably 20 or 30 years, and this beach in front of us has just a ton of scars from hanging bow hooks and gun hooks and pack hooks and all of that. So we call this the Big 13 stand because years ago he killed a big giant 140 plus inch 13-point just right out coming up this drainage behind here. And so it's been dubbed that, and this tree went a few years without a stand in it, but we ended up putting this double ladder stand in here, and it's been really fun to get in here and hunt last several years. June is not the ideal time or month to come in here and start trimming shooting lanes. I prefer to do it in the early spring before the leaves come on, and fortunately in here that's what we did. Cut most of the big stuff out, anything that I needed a chainsaw for. And now it's just kind of trimming some of the things I wasn't able to reach, but brought the pole saw in now. So we're gonna hit a couple of those higher limbs, and this should be good enough, or at least a lot better than it was last year. One other thing I wanted to do before season here is find and trim out a couple locations where we could put a ground blind. So during rifle season, Chase and I were hunting pretty much almost every time together, and two-person spot is a little more uncommon for our setups. So I wanted to do a little bit of scouting and find a couple locations where we could just pop up a ground blind, have it already trimmed out and ready to go. Just before hunting season or rifle season, we can hop in there, throw the blind up, and be ready to go with a two-man spot. This spot here is probably gonna work pretty good for a ground blind setup. It's relatively flat with just a gentle downhill grade right there. We have a ditch and a small ravine that runs up right here. Deer will often run the far side of that, so we could trim a shooting lane over there. And then this is usually one of the main crossings to get through that ditch. Just put them point blank range right there. And then it seems like a lot of does lately have been covering this edge of cover just on this side. Our big 13 stand is on the other side of this wall of brush, but the deer tend to walk this edge, so it would give us another option to hunt in this area without being up in that tree stand over there. It was actually right here in this spot, a buck we called Sideways. I was able to get a crack at on opening day out of the big 13 stand over there. He crossed through with some does, was able to put antlers on his head. I wasn't exactly sure who he was at the time when I shot. I just knew he was tall, heavy, and something I was gonna take, and he ended up dying just right over there. So this is definitely a proven spot. I know I've had some more bucks kind of sneak through here over the years, and then usually a lot of does will come in this area. So this will be definitely a decent option if we need to utilize it here come this rifle season. This last shooting lane right here for the big 13 stand kind of connects where the stand is and then where I was going to put that ground blind. But as you can see, it's a wall of beech brush. There's a couple yellow birches and cucumbers and red maples growing up through here. Now that there's a lot of sunlight hitting this floor, this is all grown up in the last decade or so. But the beech has definitely become a problem. So I'm going to end up probably cutting in a decent shooting lane right through here, all this beech, and letting the rest stand. Well, that's a wrap for this spot. We got the straps switched out, trimmed some shooting lanes, replaced the lifeline, trimmed some more shooting lanes, found a spot for a ground blind, hunt this rifle season. So I don't know, I think that this this section of woods might just be all set for October. We got one more stand we got to trim some lanes at, and maybe clear the ATV trail through that section, and that's a really good jump start on this season. Just cut my way into the final stand site that we're going to mess with today. This is a stand that Drew and I hung a couple weeks ago, and we didn't have any saws with us, so we didn't trim shooting lanes, but we got the stand pretty much up, and we just got to cut a few things. This is a spot that I haven't hunted much, and it's right on the far back corner of the property again. But like with that last one on the corner, the way the neighbors manage really dictates how the deer are going to move. So as you can see, all along through here, the neighbors pretty much high graded what they had. So cut most of the mature timber, left everything else. But that's going to basically form an impenetrable wall at some point. Deer can get through there if they want to. Then we've got a high bank right here that runs all the way up through the French Creek drainage. And I've hunted further in a little bit before and have had deer funnel right along through this edge. But now that this is cut, it's going to make a pinch point right through here, sending deer probably right in through here. So we've got a tree stand right there on the property line. We've got good relations with the neighbors, so it shouldn't be a problem. And got to trim a few things, and this one will be ready to go. Well, I was able to get a lot of those stands prepped and ready to go, so I feel really good about where I'm at here for this upcoming season. So I think the New York property is checked off my to-do list. Finish up some food plots and some other things like that throughout the summer, but otherwise we'll kind of pretty much be ready come October. See ya.